SU TV reporter Sam Jones, and joining me today will be SU TV reporters Mitch Johnson, Joel Sipper, Allie Thorson, and KNDS radio personality Taylor Kerr. On today's lineup, we will recap last night's men's basketball game and preview tomorrow's game against Denver. Also, how does the postseason look for the Bison? Then we'll recap both the men and women's Olympic hockey run and take a look at the home stretch for the NHL season. Finally, we'll recap the Bison baseball team series against USC and look at the major stories regarding the MLB spring training and the Twins offseason moves. First up, Ndsu Basketball. So Taylor, me and you were both at the game last night.
Yep.
What do you take away from the game?
Well, I mean, they won by 28 points, so it was a blowout win. It was a very good game, I thought, and I thought it was a real good game for Mike Felt, who hasn't made a three. Up until last night's game, he hadn't made a three since January 25th. He'd gone 7 straight games, and it looked like he was going to go into the tournament, real cold, and not Mike Felt that we know, the Summit League 6th Man of the Year from last year. Last night he ends up going 5 for 7 from behind the arc. Looks like he's got his mojo back, and he looks to be set for the Summit League tournament and then even the NCAA tournament after that.
Yeah, well, let's take a look at these highlights real quick from last night. The Bison did hold South Dakota to 18 points in the first half. That was crazy. 18 points. They didn't score the first 14 minutes of the first half. I've never seen the Bison play that good on defense.
Yeah, that was fantastic. Fantastic defense, and it was just a great game. Great atmosphere for the crowd. Good game.
Yeah, imagine how that coach is feeling. You get that far into the first half and you haven't made a shot in the field. You only have 3 points off of free throws.
Right.
He had to be going ballistic in those timeouts he was calling.
Yeah, and the thing was it wasn't like they were just missing open shots. They couldn't get any shots. The Bison played great defense, and for the first game of the year, for them to win by 3 and then come out and dominate them the entire game and the entire second half like they did, it was a good performance by them, especially heading into the Summer League tournament. They're really looking like they're clicking at the right time.
Yeah, I mean, they were just driving to the basket, hitting a whole bunch of threes, as we see Trey hit that 3 right there. Just 3 after 3. Just overall good win. They're now the outright regular season Summer League champs, so that has to feel good. They haven't done that since 2009.
Yep.
And that team was really great. They made the tournament and everything. Do you see this team same as that one, better?
The thing is this team and that team are complete polar opposites. That team had a lot of offensive-minded players. It was very offensive-oriented, and they could run with anyone. Where this team is very defensive-oriented. Their offense is very stagnant at times. It's not, this team is very defensive-oriented, and that's where they hang their hats on. So heading into the NCAA tournament, there could be some problems there.
Oh yeah, but before we get to that, they have Denver coming up tomorrow afternoon. What are some things you're looking for in that game? Because obviously they lost the last game by about 4 points.
Yeah, well,
Denver.
Looking into Denver, Denver's a very good 3-point shooting team. They're shooting 39% on 21 threes a game. That's NDSU's biggest Achilles heel right now. NDSU is 283rd in the nation at defending the 3, giving up 37% a game. So that's their biggest problem. Denver excels at shooting the 3, and that could pose a problem for tomorrow. But, hopefully the NDSU can hold them at bay, keep them honest, and come out with a win in the last game at the Bison Sports Arena.
Oh, yeah, that would be great for the fans. I expect them to storm the court afterwards.
Oh, yeah.
It's the last game at that building. It's been there for a long time. Last game against Denver, they didn't play too well defensively, the Bison. They gave up 51% field goal, 56% from the 3, and they also turned the ball over 15 times. So I'd like to see them take care of the ball better and play better defensively.
Definitely.
Well, they will have the number 1 seed in the tournament. That means they get an automatic bye, and they're projected to actually come out and make the tournament. Obviously, I see that they only lost 2 conference games. What do you think their biggest threat is in the conference tournament? You think they can get upset?
In the Summit League we're talking?
Yeah.
I think the biggest threat is definitely Denver and SDSU, because their biggest problem is, the 3-point shot against them. And so in SDSU and Denver are the 2 biggest and best 3-point shooting teams in the conference. So I think definitely those are going to be the 2 teams to watch out for.
All right. Well, also obviously they're projected to make the NCAA tournament.
Yep.
There's 5 teams they're projected to face. We have Kentucky, Texas, UNC, Michigan State. Which one's the more favorable matchup do you see in your mind?
I think the most favorable matchup will probably be UNC, just from the standpoint is that UNC is a terrible three-point shooting team. Outside of, if you take Marcus Page, their best perimeter player, out of the equation, they're shooting 28% as a collective unit from behind the arc. So that would fit in right. I mean, that's our biggest weakness, and that's their biggest weakness is shooting the three. So that'll play perfect for us. They like to go down low to James Michael McAdoo, and I think Michael McAdoo could pose a problem being how athletic he is and being 6'10", and our tallest player is Trayvon Knight at 6'7". But I think that'd be their best shot because UNC has struggled against unranked teams. They're only 16-6 this year as opposed to 5-1 against ranked teams. So I think UNC is definitely our most favorable matchup.
What about Texas?
Texas could be a good matchup too. They're a poor three-point shooting team, but the problem is that they have three big guys that are all over 6'9", which that'd be a problem for us. Seeing as Marshall Bjorklund and Trayvon Knight are our biggest guys at 6'7" and 6'8", and they have true freshman Isaiah Taylor. He's been playing really well. So Texas is probably our second best matchup, but they, any team that we're going to get, it's going to be hard.
All right, so if there's one team out there that you'd say we probably wouldn't want to see in the tournament, who would that be?
Right now, the team that that we've been getting in bracketology, Michigan State is the latest one that just came out was giving us Michigan State. That would be terrible for us. They're an excellent three-point shooting team. They got Kaminsky, Trice, Harris, Appling, and even Payne's hitting threes. And on top of that, Payne's 6'10". As a dominant center, one of the best centers in the game. So Michigan State would definitely probably be the worst matchup for us.
So you see Michigan State probably as like that Kansas team they faced in 09.
Yeah, definitely.
Facing Cole Aldridge and 6'10".
Yep.
That would really pose a problem.
Definitely.
I think we might actually have a good chance against Kentucky. I know they got Julius Randle down low carrying the team, but the rest of the team seems to not be up and down.
Definitely.
Up and down.
Definitely. I definitely agree with you. The Kentucky, either Randall can completely dominate the entire game and go for 35 and 20, or, Kentucky's another really bad three-point shooting team, but Kentucky does have two very athletic guards in Andrew and Aaron Harrison. So that could pose a problem for Corey Brown and Lawrence Alexander because they kind of even out. But, Kentucky would probably be another team I'd kind of like to face just because they're a bad three-point shooting team, and that plays right into our strategy.
Right, well, has been a memorable season. I'm actually thinking they could probably be maybe a Florida Gulf Coast type of team like last year and surprise a lot of people in the tournament.
Yeah, definitely, and I can agree with you on that point. But the one thing that they're going to have to do in order to make that jump as a Cinderella team is any Cinderella team that you've looked at that's made a deep run in the tourney has been a great three-point shooting team. So Mike Felt is going to have to continue on the pace that he started last night. Lawrence Alexander is going to have to pick that up, and they're just going to have to start hitting their threes.
Yeah, I agree. This will be something to look forward to. Well, coming up after the break, Joel Sipper and Allie Thorson will be in here joining me, and we will recap the men and women's Olympic hockey run and take a look at the home stretch for the NHL. You won't want to miss this.
If sports talk is your game, then check out Game Point on SU TV 84. The latest and controversial issues are tackled by the SU TV Sports Panel. Game Point, 2:30 p.m. every Friday on SU TV 84.
Hey, I'm Mariah, and I'm at Bus because not only does it save me money, but with 20 different routes, it makes getting around Fargo much more convenient. I'm at Bus. Do you?
You are watching SUTV 84, NDSU's student campus channel. To find out about the latest styles and trends and to keep up on all the latest gossip, watch The Herd at 5 p.m. every Monday on SUTV 84.
Hello and welcome back to Game Point. The Winter Olympics in Sochi was one to remember, with both the men and women's hockey teams dominating the tournament. However, they both ended up falling short of a gold medal. We'll be recapping that and also be taking a look at the home stretch for the NHL season. Joining me now is SUTV sports reporters Joel Sipper and Allie Thorson. So guys, the women had a really disappointing gold medal game loss. They were up and then all of a sudden it was just gone just like that.
That was a heartbreaker, watching that game. Seeing them up 2-0 and then finally Canada pulls their net, they shoot it down the ice. Matter of 2 inches was probably between U.S. getting gold and U.S. getting silver. It's kind of a heartbreaker for the women.
It was really hard to watch the shot where it just hits the net and it bounces right back out, and I literally fell in my stomach, just clutch, and no, it was a tough game to watch, but at the same time, giving up 2 goals in 3 minutes, that's the heartbreak doesn't come with just a surprise if you're gonna end up throwing it just like that. So.
Yeah, no, too. There's some people that are questioning the officiating in the overtime period. I mean, it was 5-on-5 going into it, and then U.S. shot into the zone. The goaltender covers it. Ref didn't blow the whistle. They always teach the kids, keep plugging away at the goal until they blow the whistle. Forward takes a simple hack, and she gets called for a penalty. Some people could consider that soft too, and then Canada was coming in on a breakaway. I mean, she wasn't in the act of shooting, but she was on the blue line. You saw the defender and Canada's legs get tangled up. Some people could say that their legs got tangled up and it's not a penalty. It wasn't tripping, but regardless, they got called. They went on a 5-on-3, and then Canada hit a backdoor slam to win the gold medal. It kind of sucks for them.
Yeah, and unlike the men, the women don't have a league to really go back to. Some of them do get to go back to college, but the ones that don't, that makes it even more heartbreaking than for the men.
They're going to have a lot of time to sit that through. I know men didn't even medal this year. That was a big disappointment.
Yeah, but what do you go back to? I mean, there's nothing, really. It's just train for the next one, is it? Or
I guess for the men, at least you have, for some of them going back to the NHL, but as, kind of brought to my attention is, when you lose out to play for that gold, is your mentality, well, what's the point now? Or is your mentality playing for the bronze? What do you think, Joel?
Oh, I think, too, you could watch that game. When they lost to Finland in the bronze medal game, sure, it could have been 2-0. There was a couple soft goals in there, but you could tell that their heart was in it, and they were so crushed. Watching Patrick Game and Jonathan Taves, 2 teammates, shake hands with each other after the Canada-USA game, you could see the heartbreak in Patrick Kane. You could see that he had his eyes set on the gold too. And it was sort of interesting the way that the coach played that last medal round. The coach had to go force with Canada, and they ended up didn't scoring a goal. They had the hotline of Phil Kessel, Joe Pavelski, and James Van Riemdijk. And Kessel already scored 5 goals in the preliminary round, and he doesn't get a goal in the medal round. It's kind of interesting to see how the U.S. dropped off in offensive production.
So would you say that proves that defense wins championships? Because Canada, as I hate to say, they only had given up 3 goals coming into that game.
The U.S. is just a good defense and good
Right.
goaltender. I will say Canada probably had the best defensive pairing in the world with Shea Weber from the Nashville Predators and Drew Doughty. Those guys have they're big, physical, and they have cannons at the point on the power play.
Yeah, so do you guys feel like that maybe they should, I know their heart was broken in the bronze medal game, but could they at least tried a little harder? I mean,
It seemed like that. You could see the frustration mounting between them. They really couldn't get anything going. Their forecheck wasn't on. They only had one guy on the puck in the zone all times. It really it fell apart for them.
Yeah, so Allie, if you were in a championship game and you lost, or going to the championship game and you lost that game, and you still have a chance to play for something, wouldn't you try a little harder?
I would, and I think especially when it comes to the Olympics, you're not just pulling for your team, you're pulling for your entire country.
Yeah, world stage.
I mean, it's not an NHL game, even with the Stanley Cup where you're playing for the biggest trophy, ever. You're back in your whole country. This is for everybody back home. And I just think I would at least try for the bronze and get another for the medal count, but
Yeah.
it just didn't seem like that was the
Yeah,
case.
you at least have something to bring back home. It's better than leaving with nothing.
I think. Oh, go ahead, Joe.
I think it's like something positive too that you could take away that's regarding the Wild is Michael Granlund had one heck of an Olympics. He was on a line with Timo Solani. They gelled really well, and you could see last night how Michael Granlund brought that success back to the Wild. He scored the first goal on the night as Minnesota beat Edmonton 3-0. It's interesting because I think this sort of trampoline Granlund's potential. You're seeing this kid starting to blossom in front of your eyes. Last year, there was a lot of hype around it, and he really didn't live up to that. And this year, you can really see this kid starting to mature and just get used to Northern American hockey.
Especially with him being named to the all-tournament team, it just kind of shows of his maturity has come throughout this year.
Yeah, so taking a look at the Western Conference standings here, what do you guys see for the playoff outlook?
Well, the way that I see the Wild is you look at a team like the Wild, they're going to get a wild card spot. I mean, they're 8 points behind Colorado. The way that the new playoff settings work is in the two divisions, the top 3 teams goes, and those are the top 6 teams regardless. And then the bottom 2 teams are the wild card teams, and those get chosen from whatever division, whoever has the highest points. So you could say like Minnesota, they could have more points than Los Angeles, but frankly, they're not in the same division as Los Angeles is. So they'd still be in 7th place with the higher point total.
Do you like that rule, or would you rather see it a different way?
It's like they just started it this year. I mean, it would be nice to see like best teams ranked on like their actual point total, but I don't know. We'll see how it works this first season.
Allie, how do you feel about that rule?
I think it adds a little bit of difficulty to this. I think it's a lot more hard to understand, but I think it gives a more variety for more teams being able to come in. I think, try it out for this year and the next few years, and if it becomes successful, why not, keep it in?
I think, too, it adds to division play. There's so much more waiting on those games where it's not like just another regular season game, and it's building to the rivalries in that division. You're seeing now Chicago, St. Louis, and Colorado. Whenever Minnesota plays them, it's getting to be more heated out on the ice, and these boys are playing hard out there, getting a little chippy after the whistle.
And it kind of relates to all sports. I mean, we want to see that division, that struggle, and that tension between them. That's what we really look forward to in any sporting event.
Yeah, football, basketball, hockey, you really look forward to those division games because it's usually 2 teams really don't like each other and they're going at it pretty hard.
And then too, like the thing that some people are looking at for the Wild to maybe climb the conference standing is the March 5th trade deadline is coming up. A couple of possibilities. Really, right now as the Wild sit, they really can't do much because of cap space. But right now they are sort of up in the air at goaltender. They have Darcy Kemper. He's filled in and he's played well. He's started the last 14 games. I know they have Nicholas Backstrom coming back from injury. He's not 100% yet. Josh Harding, he's still up in the air with multiple MS, so you could see the Minnesota Wild target a goalie.
All right, well, taking a look at the Eastern Conference standings here, do you see any team that might move up here, or you think it's going to relatively stay the same?
I think my prediction is I think this is how it's going to be set for now. The bigger storyline here is Alexander Ovechkin from the Washington Capitals. He's a 40-goal scorer. He could have one of his worst seasons as a career, not point total-wise, but the way that he played for Russia and had such a disappointing Olympics, they went an early exit. I mean, he only scored 1 goal, and that was within the first 5 minutes of that game. That's got to be extremely disappointing for him. And then to not even make playoffs. A lot of people are saying that this was a big year for Alexander Ovechkin, a make-or-break year to put him if he rivaled along with Sidney Crosby.
Yeah, that is really disheartening. I mean, he's one of the faces of the NHL, and to come out flat like this season, that's a shocker.
And you look at the Eastern Conference standings, they have a lot of teams that are in the lower part. They could be potential sellers for the trade deadline. Guys like Thomas Vanek and Martin Brodeur, like a longtime goalie, they're on the market, but he has to waive his no-trade clause.
Well, coming up after the break, Mitch Johnson will be joining Joel Sipper and I, and we will recap the Bison baseball team series against USC. We'll also take a look at some of the big headlines for MLB spring training and the Twins off-season moves. All this coming up after the break.
You're watching SU TV 84, your home for to be determined NDSU's comedy improv club, with new episodes every other week.
Jitters is the NDSU Campus Community's coffee hub. Conveniently located right next to campus, Jitters Coffee has a wide range of amenities, including comfortable seating, Wi-Fi, and an assortment of beverages. Jitters is here to meet your needs, whether you're looking to relax and socialize or study in a rich, active environment. Be sure to make your way over for your morning brew, a bite at lunch, or for a break between classes. Get your fix only at Jitters.
The Ndsu Bookstore, where every true fan and alum goes to get their pride on. Gear up with a variety of high-quality t-shirts, sweatshirts, hats, and more. Made by top-of-the-line brands like Under Armour, Nike, and CI Sport to help you show off your Bison pride. The Ndsu Bookstore has everything you need in your two favorite colors, green and gold.
Deeks Pizza, prices with the student in mind. Fast delivery and conveniently open until 3 a.m. Order by phone at 701-235-0708. Order online at deekspizza.com or order with Deeks' easy-to-use mobile app. NDSU. Make Deeks your choice for pizza this semester. That's Deeks. Great pizza that won't empty your pockets.
If sports talk is your game, then check out Game Point on SU TV 84. The latest and controversial issues are tackled by the SU TV Sports Panel. Game Point, 2:30 p.m. every Friday on SU TV 84.
Back to Game Point, NDSU's baseball team had a series last weekend against USC where they actually did get swept. And there's also some big MLB spring training stuff, and Twins had some major offseason moves. But first, we will start with NDSU baseball here. Guys, they were up 3-0 in the 8th inning in the first game, and then they ended up losing. How does that happen? You're up 3-0 going into the 8th, and you give up 4 runs over the next 2 innings and lose.
Yeah, it's just type of, when you're late in that game and you're up, 3-0. I mean, it's not a big margin, but when you're up that much, you kind of tend to slack off a little bit. I mean, all teams do it. And then your mind just kind of goes away and whatever. I mean, you still have to be focused. It is 9 innings. It's not 8 innings or 7 innings. You have to be focused for the full 9 innings and make sure you get that win. But they got the first game, they just got away with them.
I think, too, it kind of snowballed from that last game, too, with just blowing that 3-0 lead. One positive to look at is, even though they lost that game, they lost it to a quality team in USC.
Yeah, they're a good
Pac-12 team. Yeah. I mean, they play year-round, not to say that we don't have the facilities for NDSU to play indoor, but they're out in the sunshine out in California.
Yeah, I mean, the next game was, they didn't even score, but then they repeat in the third game, they're up, and then go into extra innings and lose.
Yeah, that's tough too, just because you play your full 9 innings, you have to go in a couple extra innings, and it's tough to lose. It's a lot tougher to lose in extra innings just because, I don't know, it's just tougher. It's a tougher loss for them because they played extended baseball and they just couldn't get it done when they had the momentum going their way. They were up 3-2 in the 12th inning, and then they blew it away, so.
I mean, even though it was a rough, you don't want to start your season out 0-3, but you still have expectations for this team. They made the Summit League championship last year. They were just a pitch or two away from actually winning the Summit League tournament. I still see these guys finding a way to get back to that Summit League tournament and play for the championship. I know they have, they lost a couple of their pitchers, but they still have Dave Ernst. He's returning senior, and he's going to be their ace for the rest of the season. They also have guy named Kyle Kleinendorns. He is their backup catcher outfield, kind of a utility guy. He can do it all over the field. He can do. He's a relief pitcher as well. Just another key player to look at. And then also John Skrubeck as he returns and plays third base. That whole infield for NDSU, they're all returning, and it should be solid all around. They should be solid defensively in the infield.
Yeah, the season's still young. They're 0-3. They still have a lot of games to play. I mean, they'll still be fine.
Yeah,
they still have a lot of games to play. So
there's definitely some positives they can pick up from the 2 games that they blew. They can take those and correct their mistakes moving forward when they play Murray State this weekend.
Yeah, yep. They have a 4-game set in Murray State this weekend. So.
All right. Well, there are some big off-season headlines or spring training headlines for MLB. You also played for the Dodgers, 30 pounds overweight. It's Derek Jeter's last season for the Yankees. Robinson Cano is with Seattle. Which one of these headlines stick out to you so far?
I think Jeter is the biggest one, just because Jeter's been with the Yankees his whole career. He's played so long, and now he just calls it quits. I mean, I think everybody was surprised because I mean, last year when you had Mariano Rivera, he just kept hinting, I'm starting to hit the end. Jeter just came out right away and just said, this is my last season. That's the biggest one. Yankee fans are going to be crushed by the end of the season, but I heard ticket prices are just skyrocketing for this last game at Yankee Stadium.
I think it's going to be kind of a farewell tour for him as Mariano Rivera,
Yep.
and it's kind of interesting. Derek Jeter is the he has the last single-digit number for the Yankees, so I'm pretty sure that number is going to get retired.
Yeah.
You're not going to see any Yankee players from like 1 to 9. That's going to be interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, how do you guys see Robinson Cano doing this year? He signed that big contract, and in recent years, people who sign those big contracts don't really pan out too well.
I think he'll do okay. He's with a new team. He's with the whole. I mean, everything's new to him. I mean, he has to make new friendships, make new connections with his teammates. I think he'll do fine. And for as much as he got paid for it, I think he'll do fine. And Seattle's slowly building up again, so they'll be doing okay. I think
too, he's going into a tough division. They have Oakland, who won last year. Texas is always there, and then you have Angels. They really were a disappointment last year, but they're just so star-studded. They have Mike Trout, Albert Pujols, Josh Hamilton. They can be dangerous. And then you have Seattle. They're trying to climb their way back up there. They really didn't do that bad last year.
No, the AL West I feel like will be a really good division to watch this year. So.
All right, so also the Twins made some off-season moves. Out of those moves, what do you see is really going to help them this season to do better?
The thing what they needed to do was they needed to get pitching, and they did. They got Ricky Nolasco from the LA Dodgers, and they got
Phil
Hughes from the New York Yankees. And then they also signed Kurt Suzuki to a 1-year deal, just kind of as a backup catcher. And I mean, the pitching is what they really needed. They got it. Now it's just time for younger guys to step up and
I think, too, with their pitching, sure they did sign guys, but it would be nice. You see Phil Hughes and Ricky Nolasco, they're top of the rotation starters, but I look at the Minnesota Twins. They don't have that surefire ace that they can rely on. If they need a game to win it, it's going to be interesting.
They definitely need more pitching. I mean, no doubt about it. So.
All right, well, that's all the time we have today. Thank you for joining us. I'd like to thank everyone that was on the show today. We will see you again in 2 weeks. And remember, it's always a new ball game.